on and sunny
Sunny
and
and
bright.
bright. Well, that is a way to come into the show, right?
What
My
a
goodness.
great way to start Cars,
I know.
Stars,
Thanks
and
for the-
everything in between.
Thanks
Here's
for-
even the better way. Clayton Cornelius is from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Yes, I heard the Pittsburgh accent, got excited. Oh my God, down there, so good to be on the show and all that.
Where are you originally from?
I'm originally from the Rankin Swissville area in Pittsburgh, right next to Kennywood.
Absolutely. Richard grew up in Munho. I grew up in Greenfield. I lived in Swissville for years when I moved out of my parents' house. We're very familiar with the area.
Yeah.
So how do I call you Clayton?
Yeah,
Just Clayton. What's the
people in Pittsburgh know me as Clayton, but my first name is really Elliot. But I go by E. Clayton Cornelius as an actor and producer, Elliot Cornelius.
This
so
is
I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions but remind me, please, at the very end. There's two things that I saw on your resume that I want to talk about because I want to do it with you. One says investor, and
right.
I want to do that. So remind us to talk about that.
Okay, that's great for me. But yes.
I want to do that. I want to. Because we spoke to what's her name?
Jamie
DeRoy.
Yeah.
And she was so wonderful and engaging, and that's really how we found you. And so I will tell you this before I get into all the questions, and Baba has so many also. The Temptations were part of the fiber that I grew up with. I mean, I'm that age group.
Yeah.
I grew up with the Temptations. I grew up with Smokey Robinson.
Yeah.
This was the fiber. This was me. And so it touches such wonderful nerves. And one of the things that I think music does is that it breaks down all the borders. It's not political. But if you think of a song, you always think of things that were going on in your life at that time.
Yeah.
Is that right? Do you feel that way?
Well, you know what? It's funny. I on top of everything that I do, we're probably confusing the people. I'm in the Broadway tour of Ain't Too Proud, the Broadway hit that was on Broadway 2 years ago. And I was in the original cast playing Richard Street. And now I'm on the tour playing the role of Paul Williams in the Temptations. And it's just been phenomenal. But, my father grew up with this music. My father's a Pittsburgh native, obviously, as well. And, I grew up in his Cadillac. He would lease the Cadillacs every other year. And I would be in a fresh new Cadillac listening to the Four Tops, the Spinners, the Temptations. Temptations is one of his favorite groups. So he also was an entrepreneur and a businessman in Pittsburgh. And he owned a bar in Homestead.
What?
Called The Second Time Around. I don't know if you've ever heard of it or went past it, but it was right on the edge of what we call, what's down there now by the water.
Rankin waterfront.
The waterfront. It was right on the edge of the waterfront on Ann Street, and he owned it for years. And he also owned a bar down the street years before that called Two Sweets, I think, with a business partner. But he obviously owned a lot of real estate and did all that, had a bar restaurant. And he always wanted me to be in business. And I obviously chose musical theater. I was supposed to go to Duquesne University for music education, Point Park College for musical theater, or Slippery Rock for business. And I chose go to Point Park, which PPU now. And he died in 2015, so I never really got the chance to sort of like complete making him proud of me. But when this show came around in 2017, I felt like he sort of laid out this carpet for me, because now I'm in this hit of a Temptation musical that I've been doing for the past 7 years. And this was the first show that I got to be an investor on. And it just opened up the door where now I have 9 shows that I'm investing across Broadway, and also a co-producer and a producer on many new shows. And I have a Grammy Award, and also possibly looking for a Tony nomination this year with my new show, New York, New York, that is opening actually in a couple of weeks in New York. So
wow. Wow.
So obviously your dad was a bar owner. My father supplied all the vending machines in the area.
Oh,
So-
really?
So he knew, and I remember second time around.
Oh,
Yes.
they probably
So
knew
they
each other.
definitely knew each other.
What a small world.
Yeah,
Wow.
definitely knew each other. And what a resume you have. And I
Oh,
promise
thank
you, your dad, and I think about those things sometimes too, because I was really nothing while my dad was alive. I mean, I worked every day. That's what I did.
Right.
But now, you look at it and you say, boy, for whatever success you have, modest or not, you always wish your dad sees you or saw you.
Yeah.
And that's something that we all live with, I think. But boy, you have established, it's unbelievable what you've done. To be part of this tour it's an era. You're not part of a band, you're part of an era. And I think that it's just so unbelievable to even be talking to you. And I'm so proud that you're here. And I thank you for that.
I really appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, I don't really think of that, for me, I only think of myself as being that much, but sure.
Yeah. And it's funny because we all have a similar background. My father, I grew up listening to the Temptations, Jackie Wilson, Temptations, Four Tops, but the Temptations were always my father's favorite. So I'll be singing a Temptations song, and people are like, "How do you know that song?" I was like, "It's literally the music I was raised on."
Yeah.
And my other favorite song was David Ruffin, "What Becomes of the Broken Hearted."
Yeah.
And
that's
David
how
wasn't.
we watched the show. Have you seen the show?
No,
Oh my God.
you need to invite me.
Well, yeah.
Richard, I smell a road trip for you and I.
Listen, I believe he's going to be at the Kravitz Center in West Palm Beach soon.
Oh, I am.
And I have a home there. So I'm thinking that I'm going to try to coordinate a visit. Could I be so lucky to be backstage?
You know what? Yes. Yes, definitely. I think you should come down for the weekend because I'll actually be in New York and won't be in the show until Thursday, but I'll definitely be there in West Palm, and I would love for you to come. I would love for both of you to come.
Wow.
That would be wonderful. We got to leave Bubba at home though.
Hey, why me? I deserve a trip, don't I? Wow. So do you have any connection with some of the people from Pittsburgh? Like for example, I graduated from high school with Billy Porter, and we're still friends to this day. He was just on my show last week. Do you keep in contact with him at all?
Yes, I actually, me and Billy have been sort of friends for years, and I look up to him as sort of like my bigger brother. And every time I see him, he goes, Clayton Cornelious, you know what I mean? And
I can hear it.
That's exactly his best Billy Porter way. And I just did a PBS special where they interviewed a lot of, Broadway, notables and stars. And I was lucky to be a part of that lineup. And I was, with Brian Stokes Mitchell and Ephraim Sykes and some of the, new Broadway people that are coming on the scene and some old. And I mentioned Billy Porter, and they did a whole little special on me talking about Billy and us being Pittsburgh kids coming from nothing and me watching his career, but me slowly also arcing in my career, but me also looking at him always and going, wow, this is exactly what I want to do. So yeah. He's a special part of my life.
Clayton Cornelious. This is Cars, Stars, and everything in between. More when we come back. Perfect. Wow.
Yeah,
That was awesome. Hang on.
Really cool.
Yeah, Billy and I literally went to high school together. He just called into my show. He's coming in town. This is kind of cool. The Phipps Conservatory?
Yeah, of course. Yes.
They are the Spring Flower Show is based on his fashion designs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So he's coming to town. So like I said, we went to high school together. So we've been friends for that many years. So he's coming into the studio here maybe in a month.
Oh, you should. Yeah. You know what? I'm actually going to reach out to him because I want him to be involved with the show that I'm co-producing coming to Off-Broadway. It's a show from London going to Off-Broadway, and I want him to sort of be a part of it and sort of be a face of it or just a voice for it. Yeah.
He's the best of the best of the best of the best. I mean, we've been friends for more years than I can count, and he's exactly as he was then, which is awesome to know.
Oh, he really is. He really has not changed.
Melanie, when he came in town 6 months ago, he just walked in the studio alone. And Melanie's like, "Where are your people?" He's like, "What do I need people for?"
What other Pittsburgh person that sort of is in New York? Or
let me think here. What other Pittsburghers? There's gonna be somebody obvious that I can't think of right now.
Yeah, Paige
Davis, we're friends with, very well friends with.
Yes, I toured with her husband in the first
Patrick
Page. Yeah, and I did because I did the whole CLO season last summer for Pittsburgh. So I was here all summer, and me and Paige were in Drowsy Chaperone together. I played.
Stand by. Let's talk about that. Let's start part 2. Here we go. 100.1 FM, AM 1020 KDKA. This is Cars, Stars, and everything in between. He's the star, Richard Bazzi from Schultz Ford, schultzford.com. I'm Bubba from 100.7 Star, and a real star is with us today, Clayton Cornelious. We were just talking off the air. We were talking about Billy Porter, but we were talking about you were in the CLO all summer last year. You got a chance to hang out with a friend of Richard and I's, Paige Davis, in the Drowsy Chaperone.
I did. Love me some Paige. Love me some Paige.
And by the way, I went to see the show, and I'd never seen that show before because I love Broadway. That was one of my favorite shows ever. I never even heard of it before she told me about it.
Oh, you mean the Drowsy Chaperone?
Yes.
Yeah.
I loved it.
I was the one black guy tippy tapping on the stage.
You were amazing.
Yeah, it's great to be, hanging out and getting to meet all these wonderful Pittsburgh notables. You know what I mean? That like my accent's hopping out already. Oh my God, Pittsburgh notables.
Oh my God.
Elliot, Clayton, can I ask you a question? You do how many performances roughly a year?
It just depends on what I'm doing. Obviously, if I'm in a Broadway show, I'm dedicated to that show and doing that. But if I'm ever not in a Broadway show, I'm definitely traveling a lot and getting back to either Pittsburgh or whatever. But last year I probably did about 7 or 8 shows.
Wow.
And how many performances do you think? Is it fair to say that you've probably 200-300 performances a year?
A year? Yeah, I would probably have to say that.
Gosh.
Okay,
Yeah.
so and that's my question. How do you keep it fresh? What tricks do you use, if any? Or how do you look at it new every day?
It's you gotta love what you do, and especially people who've been in the business for as long as I have, and Paige and Billy Porter and all these other people. We love it so much that we bring something new to it every time. You know what I mean? We have that much fun where we don't keep it the same, but we try to just bring ourselves to the table, and I think that's just the blessing of it. You know what I mean? We can't think of job that you kind of do every day and you clock in, clock out. Do I have those days? Hell yeah. Oh, can I say that on the?
Yeah,
sure. You're fine.
Do I have those days? Yes. But it's really all about the love that we have for our craft and doing it every day, and that's just sort of the name of the game.
Do you ever focus on somebody, like pick a focal point in the audience and play to that person at all?
I can't really see in the audience.
Okay.
Like the first 2 rows, why I got these glasses on. But if somebody is doing something special in the audience, if I can hear somebody or if I can see somebody, most definitely. Yeah. If it's that type of show that I can sort of.
I got a question because I've been accused of being a loud laugher, right? So I'm a loud laugher. In fact, Paige told me during the Drowsy Chaperone she could clearly hear me laughing at one point during the show. So
Wait a minute. Was that you?
when I met Paige after the show, I can't remember which day it was. She goes, "Bubba, I heard your laugh on stage." She goes, "It made me smile." That's all I could think about was your loud laugh. So my question is,
wait a minute. There was a show that she kept saying to me, we were hearing this guy laugh, and we're like, "Who is that?" And she was like, "That's Bubba."
That's me.
Yeah, I know Bubba. That's Bubba.
Yes, that's me. I'm that Bubba.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm a loud laugher. So my question is is that good or is it bad? I don't know that I can control it. I just don't know.
We talked about you all show, and we tried to do different things to make you laugh. So we're like, who is this guy? But hey, we want to hear that laugh again. So, and then we all thought we knew you. Oh, there's Bubba,
And there's the laugh.
That's awesome. I just didn't know. I didn't know if that's good or bad when you're on stage, if there's somebody in the audience that's a loud laugher.
Like, the audience is sometimes taught, like, be quiet, clap when you're told. No, like, have fun, have a good time. Like, we love that. That's the energy that we need. Don't become a menace, but we love it.
We have to keep him on the other side of that line.
That's why I'm not flying to Florida.
No tickets for you in West Palm.
Oh my God.
Do you come back ever and visit your old house where you grew up?
Of course. I actually, my mom is still in the same house. So I'll be I actually, I unfortunately do come home for funerals and things of that nature, but I was just back there. I mean, obviously all summer, but I was just back there for a funeral. My mom's oldest sister died, and just to visit or come through if I'm ever close around. But yeah, I do come home pretty often, probably like 2 or 3 times a year, if any.
You ever just look at it and say, wow,
it's changed,
and it just hits you where you think, wow, how did I go from here to where I am now?
It's yeah. Coming home is very humbling. Yeah, it
is.
A drive through just downtown Braddock, you know what I mean? And you get to see all the, it's always bigger than you think when you're little. And then you're like, wow, this is the whole town. I just kind of went through, even downtown and just all the dilapidated buildings still, and some of the homes and the houses, and then all the renovations and all the, things that are being, refurbished and everything else. It's amazing just to see Pittsburgh change in so many good ways too, and the new stadium and all of that downtown. It's amazing. It really is amazing.
Yeah, it's been very transitional, as have you.
What is the one thing that you miss the most about growing up in Pittsburgh? Is it a food? Is it a restaurant? Is it the people? What's the one thing about Pittsburgh that you miss the most?
It's actually the people. I always say Pittsburgh is made up like of hardworking people. We're very down to earth. There's no frills, to us. We keep it quite simple, I think. And we know when to show out, and we know when to sort of like stick to our guns. And it doesn't hit me until, actually, this is kind of funny. I go to I do love a little bit of a casino, so I go down to the casino and start talking to a lot of people, around the table, a poker table or whatever, and it's just amazing the stories and the connections I get, from people, and how nice people are, and just connecting. I connected with a woman who, she said one phrase as I was gambling. She was sort of looking over our shoulder, and she said, like, "Study long, you study wrong." And I looked at her and I said, "Where are you from?" And she goes, "Oh, around from the Homestead area." I said, my dad had a bar in Homestead. She goes, "Who's your father?" I said, "Melvin Cornelious." And she says, "Get out. I am, the daughter of Keys, who's the cop of, who was in Homestead." I said, "I know Francis Keys."
Oh my God.
Went into this whole thing where we knew each other's families very closely. And it came from one phrase that she said behind me.
That's unbelievable.
That's what I love about it.
I still can't believe your dad was Melvin Cornelius. That's, I just know that connection. The mayor of the city is still very close to me. Do you know Betty Esper?
No, I don't think I know Betty Esper.
Yeah, she's probably 95.
Wow.
She's still the mayor of Homestead.
She's still the mayor of Homestead. Yeah, we have longevity here. So wonderful to talk to you today. I do want to make sure that we have a contact, because I love the word investor. I want to be one, and I want to be one with you.
Oh, totally. I would welcome that with open arms. Thank you guys.
And when you come to Pittsburgh, you need to swing by and be live on the air on Bubba Show.
Would love it. Would love it.
That would be awesome.
Looking forward to it. And do we have your contact info? Do we have it all? Okay, perfect.
Yeah, I'll make sure that you have it.
Okay.
Clayton Cornelious, thank you for being on Cars, Stars, and everything in between.
Thank
And
you.